Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 410. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. And Nate,
you know, they don't tell you when you decide to transition into baldness. They don't tell you about certain things to look out for, you know? They just don't mention it to you. They don't mention that if you wear your hat backwards and you have this weird, like, snapback poofy flap thing.
no,
There's
that's
more focus on it because there's no hair.
No. You've got that going on because you got a small noggin. I'm looking at the snapback strap, and are you full? Are you at the end of?
There's one more. There's one more dot. Yeah.
You got that thing on there, nice and snug. You got a small noggin, man.
I could go the whole way if I wanted to.
That's why it's all your slack is up here. If you're
I was
big melon like me.
I was 7 1/4 with hair, so
yeah.
So that should tell you. Yeah. You do have a big noggin. Also, if you're not watching on YouTube, figure it out.
It's huge. Well, I'm glad you brought YouTube up because I was thinking, as you can see here, rocking the ASU hat.
It's such a clean hat too.
Oh, it's such a clean hat. The vintage. I was thinking a lot this past week about the trip to Phoenix last year, the World Baseball Classic. It was getting me in the mood for some baseball.
It's insane that it's almost been a year.
I know, dude.
Insane.
I know. And so it was getting me there. It was getting me closer to being like, I hate to say this as a Red Sox fan, but I'm close to being full throttle here with baseball. I'm feeling it. And I'll be honest, it wasn't really until probably this episode, because as we very well know, the offseason can be slow. But I'm getting there, and it was a good reason for me to remind the listeners, if you haven't watched the vlog from the World Baseball Classic trip,
honestly, go back to the vlog from our Boston trip too.
Yeah, watch all the vlogs. I think I don't know. The World Baseball Classic, I think, is our best product that we've put together. It's a
great video. Yeah.
That was a heck of a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are coming up on a year since that trip, and we are now under a month until the first spring training game.
Absurd.
How?
I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, you've been a little out of the loop, and for good reason. I don't think anybody can fault you for why you've been out of the loop. But
if anybody hears me say a name that is just out of the blue, doesn't make any sense, or I have something completely wrong, I promise I still pay attention to baseball. I'm getting married in a couple months, and it's just been insane planning this thing. It's been insane. So I apologize for whatever Nate you get over the next few months. It's not going to be full Nate. Full diehard Yankee Nate will not come until probably May, post honeymoon. Once I get back from the honeymoon, my sea legs go away from the cruise, I will be back at it. And you will get the true fired up, passionate, and somewhat half knowledgeable Nate. This Nate, he's a wild card for sure.
Maybe half knowledgeable, but always firing from the hip.
There you go.
Like always bringing the juice, always bringing the passion. That's what Nate.
It's the only way I can fire.
That's the only way he rolls. We got a voicemail, I believe. I don't always screen these things, but I believe that it's Hall of Fame related. So we're gonna transition straight from this into some Hall of Fame talk. But let's hope it works here. Let's see what we got.
Hey fellas, AJ Torres. It's been a long time, and thank you for holding down this. It's been a really dreadful off season in my opinion, but that's for a topic another time. As far as the Hall of Fame goes, I really, and a buddy of mine and a fan of the show, I know him face to face. We thought Joe Mauer was going to get screwed when it came to the Hall of Fame. Sure enough, he only needed the first year, which also granted means when Buster Posey's name comes up, oh baby, he's in. Forget about it. So about the Hall of Fame, I don't want to beat the dead horse here. But yeah, do I think Andrew Jones is going to get snubbed? I won't mention the thing of why they want to cancel him and write him off at everything. But as far as these guys, particularly since there was no policy until 2004, I mean, freaking Andy Pettitte was using something prescribed to a doctor that wasn't banned at the time. And if we really want to go by where this all started, some guys in the rumor mill, now this could be some of the old head Dodger fans I know in the Connecticut area, whatever, but they say that Ted Williams brought greens over after the war, and that's where it all started. So basically everyone between Teddy Ballgame after World War II to 2004 was taking some sort of substance. But, I mean, if it's possible, I mean, I don't want to put the pressure because it's such a ludicrous topic. Where do we draw the line as far as these steroid guys, and do you put like asterisk next to their name, or how do you go about it? Hope everybody's doing well, and take it easy. Later.
The ultimate question we try to avoid.
Oh man. Well, let's dive into it, shall we? Look, I had a
Let's start this by saying this is our opinion.
Sure.
Take it however you will. We're not in the freaking committee. We don't vote on Hall of Fame names.
I wouldn't want to be a part of that circus anyway.
Me neither. Yeah. So continue.
I had a rather, I don't want to say heated because it's like my Bible study leader.
You're a little heated.
I mean,
That's cool.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, it was like, you know, we were just chatting it up about the Hall of Fame. We're in disagreement on a handful of items. We specifically were talking about Bonds and his career and legacy and everything that means. But I gotta say, he got me thinking a little bit. He is of the belief that these guys who used should be allowed to be in the Hall of, and I believe I'm paraphrasing correctly here, so forgive me if it's incorrect. But he is of the belief that these guys should just be let in. They should be inducted in the Hall of Fame, and that the story about them should be told how it's going to be told. If people want to view their plaque as a tainted plaque,
yeah,
so be it. But it's the story of the game. It's the story of what happened.
Yeah.
And he's of the belief that it does the sport a disservice when you don't have the home run leader, you don't have the hits leader, so on and so forth in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So he got me thinking a little bit in that regard, because for the longest time, people have just rammed it down our throats, being like, well, Bonds deserves to be in for this reason or that reason.
Yeah.
Not so much about, I haven't heard as much about, or a case being made for the story being told of the sport, which, I mean,
Yeah.
I can understand. And, you know, it maybe if you take that route, you open up an opportunity for a greater conversation, like a greater discourse about that individual or that group of individuals who, you know, got dinged with the asterisk. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. You can't really to to ask the question, well, where do you draw the line? You can't. I mean, just in the question that was asked, you've got greenies, you've got steroids, you've got known users, you've got users that were misled, you've got users who knew what they took, but they thought it was for something else. Like, you know, it's all over the place. It's messy. There's no way to keep it clean and tidy. So I'm certainly in no position to say, well, draw the line here.
Yeah.
Because it's way beyond trying to draw a line, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I see both sides, and I see exactly what he was saying with just like, it is the story of baseball, and it's hard to completely ignore not just an era, but huge names, game altering names, sport altering names. It's hard to just sit there and say, like, you don't exist in this place that's supposed to write the story. It's our museum of baseball. I don't know how you go about it. I don't know if you have a separate ballot. I don't know what that's called. Is it a PED ballot? Is it a cheater ballot? Is it a, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that is. Is it a separate wing in the Hall of Fame? Is it a honorary wing? Is it an honorable mention kind of thing? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how to go about it. I think I can understand where people are coming from, where they do feel like Barry Bonds and Pete Rose and names like this can't just be crossed off and we pretend like they never occurred. Because for all we know, those players did have positive effect. You know what I mean? As much negative that we can attach to that, we can sit here and say, like, well, maybe there was a kid that first started watching ball and fell in love with the game because of Barry Bonds or because of A-Rod, because of Andy Pettitte. You know what I mean? Like, that's what that is. And in my mind, I haven't been to the Hall of Fame. I've never been. I love the idea of taking my kids someday and saying, and I'm showing them, you know, a 6, 7, 8-year-old, the story of this game and why it is what it is. To not have those names there is weird. I can't argue that. I just don't know how it looks. But to sit there and say that they deserve to be in the same conversation, I don't know. I think it's probably best that we create a new conversation instead of just having this one conversation. That's where I'm at with it. Am I going to be upset if there's a new wing or a new separate building created? Do they deserve the ceremony? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just a section where they're acknowledged and their names are in there and their plaques are in there. Maybe it's not a ceremony. I don't know.
But even then, that's messy because you're talking about known users versus people who allegedly used them, people who never tested positive, but you think they used.
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole.
It's tough, man. Where do you draw the line?
There's no way you can color inside the lines, if you will, on any of these categories that we're looking at between users, non-users, alleged. Like, it's just too chaotic.
I don't know.
Honestly, with the announcement this past week and everything, this is usually the time of the year where, you know, it's this time and the ceremony time in July that I really take some time to think about the hall and what it represents. And I don't know, man. Sadly, I really hate to say it because I've had the fortune of going there twice, and I mean, it's a magical place, but I truly, and again, sad to say, I think I'm at a point now where it's really starting to lose its luster because for me, it's which I never thought this would be the case, but it's becoming less about the saga surrounding the users versus or whether or not they should be in or not or whatever. And it's more about the committee and the biases and the conversations of intentionally leaving guys off to make a political statement or to stick it to a guy that didn't treat the media well, which is it's becoming so much, and I used the word earlier, it's so much of a circus that I just don't even have the same interest that I used to anymore. And you look at it as, I'm not saying everybody, but me, I'm getting to the point where I'm looking at it as less of an elite club or an institution and more of just like it's like a forum where these writers come together and they're like, all right, what's our hit piece going to be today? What's going to be our conversation starter today with
I can't let this guy in because he didn't treat me well in the clubhouse. It's all somewhat of a,
that to me is more egregious than what some of these guys have done. I know that may turn some heads, but to not put a guy in because you felt slighted in the locker room, come on, man. What are we?
And that's where that's where I'm curious to see if voting can be altered. We talk about this for like the All-Star game. You know what I mean? How do we alter voting and what is worth it? And like, is there a way to have a fan vote potentially make up the difference where writers are lacking or vice versa? Maybe it's a new score that needs to be obtained in some type of, you know what I mean? Like, I think things can, the difficulty is that the game has been around so long. The Hall of Fame has been around so long. And it's like, how can we change it now? Because this is the way it's been structured. But at the same time, I don't know much history when it comes to this type of stuff and like how guys get in. But what about this committee that was created for the guys that are off the ballot and they get in 40 years later? They're dead, and you know, their son,
the Veterans Committee,
right? Like, when did that come into play? And when was that decision made? Can we make adjustments that way? To address the other thing, by the way, with the greenies and stuff, it's too hard to go back. You know what I mean? It's too hard we can't rewrite history. We can't go back and correct things. And I know that's a rumor. I heard those rumors about Hank Aaron as well. It's like, you know, it is what it is. We'll never know. I think I can probably appreciate a lot of players and former players saying that like this game's full of cheaters. That's the whole point. You try to find a way to edge yourself over someone else. And it's hard to see how that's not true, but it's at the same time, me as a fan, me personally, I'm always going to lean my bias towards the guys that did it clean. And, you know, I was talking about this yesterday with when I was watching football with my father-in-law, it's like the Ravens are getting blown out and, you know, they're giving up chunk 15, 25-yard plays and the defender smokes a guy and gets up and flexes and celebrates. It's like, dude, you're down 3 scores. It's just, that's how I am. You and I took a while to get over this bat flip era. And even then I'm like, I'm more biased to the guy that just drops it and puts his head down because I think that says more. That's my opinion. So it's tough to have a place that's so glorified and so pure, if you will.
It's hard to
potentially let in impurities and say it's going to be the same.
No, but in defense of the people that are saying that it's already full of cheaters, they're right. Like, you want to talk about the character clause? Like, you don't have to look very far down the list of names that are in there to to realize like, there's some not so great guys in there, if we're being completely honest. And there's some guys that did some things undetected that nobody really knows about and may not ever know about. But
maybe we don't teach our son to be exactly like a professional athlete. And maybe we just say that professional athletes are just that. They're professional athletes. Maybe we don't idolize them as much as, we want to.
It's a good point.
It's a different point. It's probably a different topic, I think.
Yeah, one that we're maybe not going to rip the cover off of just yet. We do, however, need to run through these results. We want to give these guys the credit that they're due. Talk about cheaters and guys who maybe do or don't deserve to be in. I think it's safe to say the three names that were selected certainly deserve to be in. Adrian Beltre getting in at a 95.1% clip on his first try on the ballot. Joe Mauer, 76.1% on his first try on the ballot. And Todd Helton in his sixth year getting in at a clip of 79.7%. I think, and I know our guy AJ Torres mentioned Joe Mauer. I think he was. I personally didn't have any questions or concerns about his case.
I'm surprised
moving forward.
as far as low as that number was. I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, but I mean,
if you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
Hit the ball 317 or 517, it's still gone.
Yeah, you're a Hall of Famer one way or another.
Right.
But I think the name that had the most scrutiny and of the three, I guess deservedly so. I mean, I was a pro put Todd in.
Me too. Been saying it since we started this pod.
But Todd Helton, as I mentioned, 79.7%. He bumped up from, I think I'm reading here, 52% in 2022. And then last year just missed out at 72.2%. And then gets in at basically 80% this year. So
that's the other thing that I don't like about this system. It's like, it's so dictated on who you're on the ballot with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's right. You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. 6 years is weird. Like I just don't understand why we had to let these other names phase out in order for you to get in.
Yeah, like you hear these writers talk. I hate the Hall of Fame season because it always comes back to these idiot writers, and we don't spend as much. And I know we have full control over what we talk about, but it's near impossible to talk about the Hall of Fame and the decisions that come into play with who gets in without bringing up the very people that make the decisions.
Yeah.
But you hear these guys make their arguments all the time or they share their reasoning after the fact, or even before the results get announced. We're like, yeah, well, I had to let player X slide off the ballot because, he still got 5 more years. And I'm like,
that's not how it works, dude.
You're voting. You're not trying to game the system here. You're voting for who you think are the Hall of Famers.
You're like you said, you're either Hall of Famer or not. No, I don't understand it.
It's a stupid system. It's an archaic system, and the
only people that like it are the freaking writers, man. I don't really hear players immediately getting up to the podium and thanking and bowing down to the writers. It's like there's too much power, dude. There's too much power.
It kind of, honestly, I don't think I really considered this until just this very minute. It's kind of weird when you really think about it. The fact that these guys have 10 years on the ballot. That's a wild system. Like,
meeting certain standards, right? Like if you fall below a threshold of percentage votes, you're out.
Oh, sure. No, I mean, assuming you're like like a Todd Helton. We'll just use Todd Helton as an
Yeah.
example. Like assuming you're well above the minimum thresholds for the duration of the time that you're on the ballot.
Yeah.
It's a silly system if you really take the time to think about it.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to muster up a case to convince writers whether or not we think a guy deserves to be on the, I mean, whether it comes down to public opinion or not, or whether these guys are locked behind closed doors this time every year, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just weird to me, you know? Does that make sense?
I don't understand the limited votes that you can give. Why? Why do you have limited names that you can choose? Why do you only have so many votes? It's 8, right?
10.
10. You have 10 votes that you can put out on a single ballot. Why? Well, what's the point of that? If you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. Not, hey, I'm running low on votes and this guy's in his last year and this guy's in his first year. I know he'll be back next year because he's got this amount of votes. So what? If you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. This is a weird, wonky system that is, it's ugh. I hate it. And writers are just so arrogant, dude. There's so much arrogance attached to this. To the writers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the writers. Yeah, bums.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel bad for those listeners that have been listening to us for years because I'm pretty sure this is a shampoo effect, rinse and repeat conversation we've had every year. But
yeah,
this is across all of baseball, man. Everybody has this combo, and it sucks.
Shout out to the new listeners who are hearing it for the first time. Hopefully, we've
and also
made our case.
Shout out to freaking Todd Helton, Joe Mauer, and Adrian Beltre. I mean, I love Todd Helton personally. I love what he did for the organization of the Rockies. I love that he stuck around the whole time. I love that he's the dude, man. Such a clean glove over at first base. I don't need to sit here and have arguments about elevation and humidifier and whatever, the humidor. Like I don't need to do that. That guy's a Hall of Famer, a stud. Love it. Adrian Beltre. I mean, what a freak. First of all, I think he's got to be remembered as a top 20 right-hander of all time, possibly. Joe Mauer. Joe Mauer to me is kind of like it's kind of hard to compare him across. It's like he had so much talent, and I think he was capable of doing more if his body would let him. But in that time, he was dominant, and I think that's probably my biggest conversation. It's like you talk about when you go in and you travel to a different team and you game plan against somebody. How long are you game planning for that guy? If you're game planning for that guy for 6, 7, 8 years, that big of a chunk, he's sitting in the middle of his lineup, or, hey, we're facing this guy on the bump this series, and you're game planning for that guy for so long, and he's just sitting at the top of leaderboards for stats for so long of his career. That's all I need to tell me. You know what I mean? It's less about the milestones and less about the overall numbers, I think. It's more about, like, were you dominant in that period? And what AJ said, Buster Posey. Now that Mauer's in, Buster Posey's a landslide because it's like you were dominant in that period. And yeah, it didn't last forever. I give credit to the guys that do last forever. But there's different ways of getting in. So props to all three of these guys. Huge monumental names. Do you think Beltre goes in as a Ranger, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't a Dodger very long. Where else was he? It's one other place.
No, he was with the Dodgers, Mariners, Sox, and Rangers.
Yeah. Yeah. 3 studs, man.
All deserving.
Yep.
Uh,
See Peyton Manning? His
I
put a little
did.
post out.
I did.
Love that.
Big Peyton guy.
I'm a big Peyton guy as well. I can't help it. Can't help it.
We went way deeper on that than I thought we would. Thanks to the stupid writers. But we got to move on. Let's talk some current day stuff, some things that are happening on the here and now. Some of this is maybe slightly past due because, again, we only do one episode during the off season each week. So playing a little bit of catch up, not too bad though. We had one trade go down just before we hopped on. Jorge Polanco. We'll start with that. Traded from the Twins to the Mariners. The Twins in return get Anthony Desclafani, Justin Topa, along with prospects outfielder Gabriel Gonzalez and right-hander Darren Bowen.
So Robbie Ray was turned into, who else was with Desclafani? Haniger.
In the package?
Yeah.
Haniger
and Desclafani and one other guy, right? So now Desclafani has been flipped into Jorge Polanco. Interesting. I like Jorge Polanco. Personally, I like him.
Yeah, but like before you even begin to look at the details of the haul itself, I mean, 4 guys, that's a lot for Polanco, no?
Yeah, probably. I'm still not totally bought in on whatever the Mariners are doing. This seems like it's like a payroll slash, and then also you're bringing in like vets that like you're just trying to squeeze the last out of them, you know?
Passon just tweeted, said Gonzalez is a top 100-ish prospect. Topa was excellent in 2023. Bowen was 23 and in low A last year. Desclafani gives Minnesota much-needed innings. Polanco is a huge get for the Mariners and will slot into the middle of the lineup. First, with him going to Seattle, Feinstein. So
he's a little older, isn't he? Isn't he like 33?
He played a decade in Minnesota.
Yeah.
He's got to be
33, 34?
Wow, he's 30.
30?
Man, so he came up young.
Still, 4 names. It's interesting.
Wow. I don't think I realized this, but between his first 2 years in the big leagues, he only played 9 games. So he really only gave you, and even his first quote unquote full season, he gave you 69 games, 270 plate appearances. So he wasn't really settled in until 2017.
That seems wild. It just feels like he's been around forever. I do think he's one of those guys that like maybe just overlooked, underappreciated being in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And especially the beginning of his, settling in career, Minnesota wasn't good. So now that, I like to see him somewhere else. I'd like to see how that goes. I like him. It doesn't move the needle a ton.
No.
And middle of the lineup is generous.
Yeah. I'm with you. And I'm with you on all those things. Like I like him. I'm not, I know it may sound like I'm knocking the guy. It's not that. I just think it's like 4 guys, regardless if you've got a 23-year-old playing an A ball mixed in there, regardless of that. I just feel like 4 guys for Polanco seems like a lot, but I mean, the Mariners are trying to dump some pieces, clear some space, whatever they're doing. So be it.
Let me see here. Career 17 WAR, career 269 hitter, 112 home runs, not his game.
He's a one-time All-Star. His last 2 seasons, he was hurt last year. for a stretch. But his last 2 years, respectively, 2022 hit 235. Last year hit 255. Neither of those seasons did he post an OPS above 789. It was 751 in 2022, 751 in 2022 and 789 in 2023. So 150 OPS plus and 115 both years. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
He's going to be a serviceable second baseman for them, but it just doesn't. To say he's a huge get.
Yeah, I think that's generous.
Wow.
And that I think if this offseason hot stove was anything better than what it is, I don't think this is as big of a conversation.
This conversation doesn't even happen if guys like Cody Bellinger, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, names like that are moving, but they're not. So this is what we're talking about.
Yeah. 58 games last year at second base, 15 at third. Nice little versatility. What's the rest of their roster look like right now? Let's look at that.
I saw some Blue Jay fans clamoring for his services at third base, which I thought was an interesting fit.
Really?
Blue Jays want everybody right now, man. Blue Jays want Cody Bellinger, a name we mentioned that has yet to move.
Yeah. Well, this is a lot of confusion here. JP Crawford slots at short, obviously. Ty France over at first. Rotate with Luke Raley, which was a good ad. I did like that move.
Yeah.
Sam Haggerty, I believe, started as an outfielder to begin his career. But they have him as an infielder. Josh Rojas and Luis Arias were also added. This is interesting. I don't know
Say
how
that
I feel
again.
about
Who
this.
else was added?
Luis Arias, whatever. And Josh
Two
Rojas.
completely different people.
Yeah, but the same name, right?
Not Arias. No, not
Arias. Not that. No.
Not the hit
not
king,
him.
Luis Arias.
No, Urias. There was another
Arias from Milwaukee.
Didn't the Red Sox
he
just
was
get
with
him?
Yeah, he was with
Yeah.
I think of him from Milwaukee, but yeah,
Urias,
Boston.
yeah.
Yeah.
So who's this Luis Urias? Which one is this?
No, that's him.
That's him.
But you said Luis Arias, and I'm saying that's not who we're talking about here. That's a completely different guy.
Yeah, I don't know. This infield, I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand what's happening with most of these moves. I like adding Luke Raley and Mitch Garver, but like I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, Mitch Garver's a good get. Can we back up though? I still don't feel like we're on the same page here. You understand what I'm saying?
Maybe who's the other Urias?
No. Let's stay here. So there's Luis Arias, and then there's Luis Arias, like
the
guy that just hits.
Yeah,
I know it's a little foggy for you right now because of what we talked about with.
I know it's not Arias. I know that.
But that's who you said when you're running through the names that they have. You said Luis Arias.
Urias. I was reading it wrong.
It's Arias.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
my last name's
not
Reyes,
Luis
by the way,
Arias.
and I still can't do this.
Yeah, it's all right. Okay, just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
But the Rojas's and the Urias's and I can't keep it straight. These all seem like the same player to me. The same, like, you're gonna mix in at shortstop for 60 games, you're gonna hit 215, then you're gonna give pretty decent defense. So I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what the Mariners are doing. It doesn't feel like they're getting better. It just feels like they're making moves to make moves.
That momentum, I feel like, was short-lived.
Yeah. I think they're fumbling the bag a little bit.
Yep.
And I'm looking at this pitching staff, and it's like, I don't know what's going on here either.
And I say that, let me just clarify. I say that knowing full well, and we've talked about this plenty, that it doesn't, just because they're not going out and making these
Yeah, I don't need
Yamamoto
splashes.
Ohtani
Right.
type offers. We're not like that doesn't. We're not saying that equals success or it translates to wins. But like, if you're a Mariners fan, you got to admit that like not much of what you've really done lately has inspired you. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can we all agree there?
Yeah.
So we're not saying that they're not making smart moves, but they're not doing enough to give you a clear indication of what the vision is moving forward.
Yeah.
Or to give you a reason to really be excited.
The only thing I'll say is that I feel like they did successfully add a little pop between Garver and Rayleigh.
Yeah, no, like I said, Garver's a good move, but
Mitch Haniger is
your
a
catcher.
head scratcher.
Like,
I mean,
do you get like, right? That's your catcher. Like,
yeah,
great ad, but you need to give me a little.
We have Cal
more.
Raleigh as well, so it's like, does Mitch Garver just
DH,
plug DH the whole time? And like, so what do you do with Ty France and Luke Rayleigh? Like, you have 4 names that are going to rotate through only 2 spots, and it's like, I don't know what the move is here. You continue to bring back old outfielders, and I don't understand what's happening. Maybe Polanco will be hitting in the middle of this lineup because I'm not seeing the vision here.
Talking about hitting in the middle of the lineup, Brewers go out and get Rhys Hoskins on a 2-year deal. Includes an opt-out after the first season. Deal is worth $34 million.
Player or club opt-out?
I think it's player. Let me check.
I do like this deal.
Yeah.
You're Milwaukee, you probably have to overpay a little bit for this. Coming off an injury, but I like the juice. I like the pop. They've been desperate for a first baseman for a while now. So I'm a fan of this. This is a surprise Milwaukee move that ordinarily would not expect out of them. So I'm on board.
Player option after 24.
Smart. What a deal. That agent needs a raise. Didn't play last year. You're going to make 17 a year. You have a flexible deal where you can bet on yourself. If you come back and you're the normal Rhys Hoskins, you hit the market again. If not, 17 mil for a second year ain't so bad. If you're a little slow and you still got the rust to work off. I think it's probably an overpay, like I said, but Milwaukee needs to, because they haven't had a first baseman to rely on since I don't even know when.
Yeah, I don't know if Rowdy Tellez is really.
I don't know. Yeah,
scratching the itch.
Carlos
I mean,
Santana,
it's best case for
Luke Voigt. It's been a hole over there for a while.
It's best case for Rhys after. I don't want to be saying kick. I don't want to say kick to the curb.
It's tough when Bryce Harper's like, "Hey, that's mine now.
I'll play first." Yeah. And you have to know. I mean, the type of guy that we can imagine Bryce is having the conversation with Dave Dombrowski, Philly Rob sitting at that table. And I would venture to say Rhys is at the table there, and they're going, look, like somebody's going to have to draw the short end of the stick here. I think Rhys has the awareness to go, we're talking about Bryce Harper here.
Yeah.
I wasn't here last year. I wasn't contributing last year.
Yeah.
Again, it's Bryce Harper. I think given the decision to make him the full-time first baseman, and who knows, maybe there was some kickback from Bryce. Like, no, like, is there a way we can make this work? Because he was very vocal about trying to keep Rhys around. And I feel like for the most part, they've kept a good handful of those guys around for a number of years now. And I think it was time for one of them to to get shipped out. And
it was just time.
like you said, if this is an overpay, Rhys is the guy that benefits here in that scenario. And if he has a good year, hits the market again. If not, he falls back on a 17 mil year 2. So
I want to see what else. I just want to look at this Brewers team. See if
I think it's win-win for everybody.
See if I'm losing my mind at all. Oh, brought in Jake Bauers too.
They sure did.
Huh. All right. I mean, it's interesting. Still a little interesting. Yeah, this is still giving me typical Brewer vibes. Yeah. I just wish Christian Yelich was more than a flash in the pan. I've heard rumors of the Willy Adames stuff, but like, why now? Why ship him out? Like, you might as well see what you have this season and see if you can piece together some wins. And if you don't, then sell at the deadline. But yeah. And then you still have arms that you can move on from too. Yeah.
Are you looking for tickets?
It's not deep.
Do you have plans with friends or family to make it to an upcoming?
I don't have this bullpen either.
SeatGeek. Use promo code 30TAKE. That's our social handle at checkout. $20 instantly off your first purchase as a first-time user. SeatGeek. Yeah, we know you're not inspired by Milwaukee baseball. That's well documented. But I think you and I can both agree this is a good move. Good move all around.
Yeah, I like the move.
Yep.
Best case, he's got 18, 20 home runs up by the deadline, and you're 9 to 10 games out of it, and you flip him.
That's best case.
I think that's best case.
That's best case for the Brewers,
Yeah,
a team that's like a perennial.
Yeah,
unless
you get a Cy Young Corbin Burns again. Yeah, which I would like to see him elsewhere. There are some names that I'm just like, you would do cooler things elsewhere if you weren't in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Can we as baseball fans agree to just do like a fantasy trade? Like, let's scrap every roster and let's start from scratch.
Like a fantasy draft. That'd be sick.
Do a league-wide redraft.
One keeper. You can have one keeper.
One keeper, and we just redraft the whole league. Shake things up a little
I
bit.
feel like the Brewers would keep Corbin Burns, wouldn't they? No, probably Devin Williams. I don't know. That's tough. If you don't know who your keeper is, I think that's an interesting scenario to be in.
That's pretty telling.
That just tells you what it's like to be in Wisconsin. Packers are looking better, though. So things are turning up.
Who got in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. I could not be more done with the Chiefs. I could not be more out on the Chiefs. I knew this was coming. I knew that T Swift was going to be forced into this stupid thing, and we're going to have to. The fact that I'm getting notifications about her is insane. I'm a big Brock Purdy guy, so I'm riding.
Mr. Relevant. How about that, dude? 2 years.
The Niners. He went to school out here. He went to high school out here.
Did he really?
Right down the road.
Drafted as Mr. Relevant 2 years later, heading to the Super Bowl. Good for Brock, man.
I'm riding hard on Brock. He's the man.
See that.
Brock's the man.
98% of America is pulling for the Niners.
And honestly, if you were to ask me if I was to like switch lives with one person, to be honest, Christian McCaffrey might be up there. That guy he's checking a lot of boxes for a lot of people.
All right, so you want to hear something crazy? I think I maybe shared this story. Just a little tangent here before we continue on with baseball talk. Me and Meredith were out in LA. Me and Meredith and I, proper
There it
grammar
is.
here. Hello.
Nice.
We were in LA
Christopher Newport.
last October. Shout out at
Did you
college
test out
education, baby.
Did you test out of English or?
Yes, I did. I sure did. No, we were out in LA. I was out there for a conference last October. Holy cow, that was 2 Octobers ago. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
2022.
Yeah. We're on that weird like
2022.
little flat escalator thing at the airport.
Yep.
We're going a lot faster than we need to go.
We were out there and we were staying. They put us up in this hotel, and the Panthers were in town,
Mm-hmm.
and they were staying in this hotel, and we were hanging out. They gave us like these like little vouchers to use at the bar for like an app or a drink or whatever.
Yeah.
So we went down there one night. And dude, I'm like 90. I wish you would have been there because you could have told me for certain. I'm like 99% sure Christian McCaffrey, because he was with the Panthers still at the time. Triple check me on that. Right? Because he wasn't with the Niners until last year.
Yeah, he got traded to the Niners last year.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's still on the team at the time. 99% sure he comes down to the woman working the bar that night asking if he had lost his wallet there, and if so, if anybody had returned it. He was decked out in Panther stuff, and I'm like 99% sure it was Christian McCaffrey, but I'm not positive. But I think it was him. And I'm sitting right there.
He's just a good-looking cat, man, and he's like super cool. Super cool. He went to high school right down the street from me in Denver. He went to Valor Christian High School. All his brothers went there. Valor Christian was like the school, dude. Like Vinny Castilla's kid was there, so Vinny Castilla would go out and coach the team. Nice. Brian Dawkins, remember him, the safety?
Sure do.
His kid went there the same time Christian McCaffrey was there, so he was coaching. It was insane. And Ed McCaffrey, everyone knows, was in the league a while for the Broncos. So like, yeah, went to a crazy school. But yeah, Christian McCaffrey, dude, like a little guy crush on that guy. Like he's the dude.
Living the life. Back to baseball. Hector Neris. The Cubs signed Hector Neris on a 1-year, $9 million deal. Includes an option.
I'm just going to fire from the hip like we talked about at the beginning of the show. That's all I do, baby. Yep. No research. I don't know why, but if we include the Craig Counsell thing, I'm just going to give this offseason for the Cubs an A. I feel like they're doing the right things. Am I crazy?
I mean, they're still in on Cody Bellinger too,
right,
dude. So
if they bring back Cody, that's an A.
Here's the thing though, not only if they bring back Cody Bellinger, but if they bring him back lower than what the market was anticipating, because the longer we get, or the longer it goes, the closer we get to spring training, that price tag is only going down.
Yeah. For a lot of these guys, Snell too. So, but I don't know what it is. What else did they do? I don't know why I'm giving him an A, but I want to give him an A.
They got
Imanaga, right?
Yeah, Imanaga. They got
there was one other move. There's one other solid move.
Or no. Why am I acting like they went crazy? They played it late, didn't they? Like, weren't they? They were like one of the last few teams, I think, to make a move, if I recall. So maybe it wasn't one other guy. I think that it may have been it.
Craig Counsell's got to be worth a C+ on his own. No other moves. If you do no moves, that's good.
You jump up from an F. Yep, I agree. That may have been it.
Let me try to do some research. See what happens. Yeah, maybe
Just say
there's not a lot going on here.
SeatGeek.
You already did that.
User, I'm bridging the gap.
Oh, the
bridging
Almonte move. I like that. The Yency Almonte move with the Dodgers.
Oh, true. Yep.
That one was good. That one was cool.
Cover that one.
Can we go to... Oh, let me drop back last month. The Imanaga. Were we missing something, guy?
Yeah, they got some good options back there in the back end of the bullpen. I like what the Cubs are doing.
Whatever. Bring back Bellinger, and Cubs fans should be happy. Maybe I'm just out of pocket. I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there. I like it though. The Cubs are like turning into this weird team that everyone like kind of roots for to get back to normalcy. I don't know why. I like it. I can't explain it. I can't explain why I'm backing them, but I want to. I feel bad for them. I don't know why. I think baseball is better when the Cubs are good.
I agree. I mean, they weren't on anybody's good side when they were threatening to ship out Contreras and KB and Rizzo and breaking up the band, but now they've reshifted the focus. They've narrowed in on a vision. I think people are starting to see it, even the casuals, and I think you're right. I think people are going to start pulling for the old Cubbies again. Joc Pederson heading to the NL champ D-backs on a 1 year. Can I just say something?
D-backs are getting kind of sneaky with stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it is
not that this is a 140 game kind of guy.
No. But I hate 1 year deals. I hate them. And it's really becoming more clear to me just how much I hate 1 year deals, because I've said it on here before. I appreciate when a name can stick around for a length of time, give fans a chance to latch on to, get to know, to appreciate a little bit. But when you're signing these guys to just plug holes, and I know it's part of the game. I'm not naive in that sense, but you know, it's just 1 year deal here, 1 year deal there. It's like, my goodness.
Yeah.
And especially with guys that are on the back end of their careers, which, to be fair, is a good portion of the guys that are receiving these deals. But it's like, it's hard to pull, for example, Red Sox. It's hard for me to get excited about the Red Sox bringing in Justin Turner last year, because it's like, the dude most likely will not be here in 2024. That could change, of course, but it's like, at the very least,
I'm with you.
Just give me 2 years. You know, that's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking.
I can get on board with that. I kind of like what some of the things that the Diamondbacks are doing. That is a team where it's like, hey, we're not far off. We don't need to do a ton to get better, but let's do a little fill in the gaps here. So, Eugenio Suarez, they brought back Gurriel, added Erod, right?
Yep, sure did. That was a 4 year deal.
And then this, it's like, you know, not that Joc Pederson is, but like, if you can get something out of him, you know, this is what Joc Pederson is like, the epitome of, like, you remember that chapter where, like, growing up and even like into our teenage years, where these teams like really wanted a good pinch hitter.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like we're starting to creep into. Like, let's go get this veteran bat that has spent the last few years understanding how to stay productive as a not everyday player.
Sure.
And willing to accept a role great clubhouse guy. I like the move. It's not like Joc does a lot for me, but I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I see some of the other moves they made, and I'm like, I don't hate what you're doing. I can respect it.
I have nothing against Joc. It's more just the deals. I just hate one of your deals. That's all.
I might go catch some games this year. I might do that.
How about it?
We'll see.
How about it? And Adam Frazier kind of closing the book here on the moves. Not really much to cover here. 1 year deal, $4.5 million. There's a handful of other deals that happened, very minor, bunch of 1 year deals that didn't even bother to include.
Yeah.
But I included him in this just because I feel like there was a relatively large fall off with him. No, like, was it 2-3 years ago that he was the bat that everybody wanted, and then the Padres went and snatched him up from Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Do I have that right?
No, that's right.
Yeah. Traded the Padres.
Yeah. I
Hit
thought he was
305 that year.
I thought he was like a pretty good guy with the Orioles last year, right? Like,
No. I don't. Maybe fall off. Maybe is not the right way to put it, but
it was a little overhype. We had a chapter of overhype.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like the discussion surrounding Adam Frazier has taken a turn. Yeah,
like you have been good, but like, let's not get crazy and say that you're at the top of the market at your position.
I mean, I think if you recall, it may have just been like that month leading up to the deadline where
I do remember
like, Adam Frazier. Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, why all of a sudden are we talking about Adam Frazier?
Yeah.
I mean, he hit like 300 that year, like I said, but
like,
why is this the coveted bat that everybody's trying to get at the deadline? I don't know.
I feel like
now he's playing with the Royals
again, firing from the hip here. I think the Royals have been like kind of interesting this offseason. It's been a lot of these moves. They gave us 1 year. I think every fan was like, dude, let's just see what your youth has. Show me what you have going on over there. And then they were freaking cave dwellers, dude. Worst team in baseball last year. And then you're like, okay, well, maybe we should get you some MLB ready names. And then they went out this year. Research time. Please hold.
You looking up their infield?
No, I'm going to look up some of the transactions they've made. Just this off season here.
SeatGeek. Use our promo code 30TAKE. That's our social handle, THREEOHTAKE, to save $20. And it doesn't even have to be sports. It can be the theater. It can be a concert. It can be an art show. They have those on there. I think they do. They got everything on there. Say $20.
Tyler Duffy invited Luis Sessa to spring training. Hunter Renfroe, Michael Wacha, Chris Stratton, Seth Lugo. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
boom.
Will Smith. They're going to the freaking World Series, dude.
Royals.
Friend of the pod, Mike Brasso, getting an invite to spring training.
How about that?
So, let's...
Dude, the Royals are going to the World Series.
Garrett Hampson. I mean,
Oh. Not Garrett Hampson.
I can't...
Forget putting him in the World Series. Give him the crown.
Give him
Pun
the trophy
intended.
Now. Give him the trophy now. I can't completely hate on them. I can't. I can appreciate what you're doing. You're fielding somewhat of a decent team.
I mean, it's on brand with what they do. Like, they're not going out and dropping boatloads of quiche, but
no,
they're making Royals type moves, and to their credit, they're at the very least they're making moves. They're not trying to
Pasquantino,
shed payroll.
I think we need to remember that Vinny Pasquantino is that guy's going to be
Pasquatch.
Just wait. That guy, if you don't know, you just wait. Bobby Witt.
Oh, you will.
We know about him. Friend of the pod, Bobby Witt.
Oh, we know.
We know.
We
MJ
know.
Melendez.
Coming
There's
off
a
a
future
30-30
there.
year. Bobby
Come
Witt.
on. Drew Waters. Super high prospect. Braves fans know him. There's promise here. They're gonna see some stuff. Give it some time. Let this core get a little older. But Bobby Witt, Pasquantino. I just saying.
Speaking of promise, Tigers signed 22-year-old infield prospect Colt Keith to a
What?
6-year contract that guarantees him $28 million. Hasn't sniffed the grass of a major league ballpark. 28 mil for 6 years.
Is this like a
Is it a prank? Too early to tell.
Is this like a fake pioneer move? You know what I mean? Like, hey, the Braves have been pioneers of doing early extensions with guys that, you know, have a lot
at least
of promise.
seen the field.
Yeah. Is this like
Trying to one up the Braves?
They're trying to one up everybody, be like, we're smarter than everybody. Let's go do it to our top prospect. Is he even their top prospect? I hope he is.
The
Is he even
22nd ranked prospect in the big leagues.
Okay.
Let me see here.
Cool. I mean, that's cool, but like,
He's got to be, right? No, he sure isn't. He's their second behind Max Clark, who's currently in A-ball. Colt Keith, however, is projected to be the team's starting second baseman. He hit .325 with 14 bombs, 50 ribbies in 59 games last year for Double-A Erie. Then was promoted to Triple-A Toledo and batted .287, 13 bombs, 51 ribbies in 67 games.
what's his name?
Colt Keith.
It's kind of a cool name.
I love it.
Kind of a cool name.
Some pretty cool initials there, if I do say so myself.
Maybe I think that we just relax a little bit. Maybe not do this.
Who knows, dude? Maybe this is the
But maybe who knows? Maybe we are gonna, 5 years from now we look back and we're like, dude, you remember we recorded that episode? We had no idea who this guy was, talking a bunch of noise, and he's the new Aaron Judge. Who knows, man? We never know. These guys in whatever position they're in the front office obviously know more than we do. But
dude,
I'm just saying this is setting a weird precedent.
I want to go back. You just gave me an idea. I'm going to be bored this week. So I'm going to go back and listen to some old episodes from the first year. I'm going to go back to 2018.
Just try to find names that like
I'm going to find names who I'm like, oh, is this bum that they're giving 150 mil to? And then he's like a perennial all-star.
Love that.
I'm gonna go
do your homework.
dig around and see if I can find something. Yeah, who knows? We'll see. We will see. The Nationals and Marlins uniform updates real quick. Any thoughts on that? Did you have a chance to see those by chance?
I hate that the Nationals are ditching cursive. What's that about?
They're not ditching them. So I don't know if you saw, but which was a wild move in and of itself. But I think in order to, because I think there's like a cap, like a limit that's what I thought. Okay. So after this year, they're dropping the cherry blossom unis. I don't know if you saw that. Which is wild.
Mixed emotions on that. I'm low key. That's one of my favorites. I know not a lot of people agree. That's fine. I don't care. I like them.
Oh, I thought that would fix my computer charger. Why is my computer not charging?
Dead.
Nope, don't say that.
All
All right, share
End of
your emotions
episode.
on the jerseys while I get this figured out.
I just like it. The Marlins one, I didn't even see, so he's leaving me right now, and I have to look this up. Marlins uniform. What's new? This doesn't look new. Looks the same to me. What did we change? This looks the same. The font? So it's all white and the borders kind of in and out. Good thing that ADT patch is on the shoulder though. Whew, close call there. I mean the blue one are we talking about the blue ones? The black ones look the same.
Oh, we already switched up to the Marlins?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me finish my thought here on the Nets.
I didn't cover the Nets at all.
thought that's what we were talking about. Yeah, so they're dropping the cherry blossoms after next year.
Mm-hmm.
And they introduced, I'm sure everyone's seen it by now, they're introducing the pullover style white unis, which kind of crazy. It's got the capital with the W kind of throwback logo on there on the chest or on the like the pec area. So it's off to the side. And it's pullover, so kind of interesting. Blue sleeves, white uni.
I don't like the neck. The neck is close.
Yeah.
But the weird, like, not V. This is like a girly V-neck going on.
Yeah, not a fan.
It's a deep V.
And the road unis I hate. Could not hate more. Just the most bland, generic block font,
right,
arched across the front, Washington.
Right.
These will be dropped. I'll go ahead and I'll make a bold prediction. These, I'll say the grays. The white ones, I feel like they may try to push a little longer than a year. Grays will be gone after next year. Or some tweak will be made because these are not it. And I don't know who thought over at Nats HQ thought that these were it, because they're not.
The grays?
No, not it at all.
Yeah, I'm out on the grays for sure. I liked they had it was just solid red cursive on the grays, right?
Yeah, with the white outline of
I was a fan of those.
Of Washington. Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, and then in the same conversation, like, oh, not only are we going to introduce these, we're going to drop the jersey that the fans love the most. Minus the blue cursive ones that they got, but yeah, not a fan. The Marlins, the blue ones are sweet.
I do like the blue ones,
and I like that they whited out the text on the front of the black ones because nobody could read it before that. So.
That's what happened to the black ones?
Yeah, they just filled in the text with white. Because if you remember, it was like that weird black.
Yeah.
It was like the blue outline.
Whatever.
Nothing really on it.
This is also I don't know if you had a note, the honorable mention about the Yankees away jerseys. Did you see that?
Oh, true. Yeah, going back to the older style. I love it.
You do? I don't really care that much. I kind of like the sleeve borders. I'm a fan of those.
I think I'm gonna like this minor tweak, and it was hilarious. I hate to say it, my friend, but a lot of your fellow Yankee fans,
butthurt,
quote unquote, really outing themselves as to just how far back their knowledge of their favorite team goes, because they're like, why are they going back to the Field of Dreams style? Like, this isn't it, bro. I'm like, well, I'm going to go ahead and break the news to you that this goes back a little further than the Field of Dreams.
Yeah, like 100 years.
Yeah, just give or take. Yeah. So that's where we're at with that.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to unis. That about does it, except for some unbreakable records talk real quick before we get out of here. On deck for today.
Finding the drum roll button. There we go.
Boom!
We need a
Cy
producer.
Young career wins. Yeah, maybe I should put you on the soundboard. Cy Young career wins. This I texted you today, dude. This is comical. Career Hall of Famer, Triple Crown winner, 1903 World Series champion, 2-time ERA title winner. He had accumulated WAR of 163.6. The record that we were getting into, 511 wins, 315 losses, which is a record in and of itself as well. The losses
had in 1903.
Yes, yeah, 315 losses in 1903.
Yeah.
No, his career.
Okay. Just checking.
Yep. Yeah. I mean,
that was a legitimate question.
He probably made 315 starts
right
in 1903, but this is his career. Career ERA of 2.63. He made 906 appearances, 815 of those were starts, which I also believe is an all-time record. He had 18 saves, which was new to me. I had no idea Cy Young tallied the saves category. He notched 7,356 innings, 2,803 Ks, a whip of 1.130. 511 wins, most all time. Second in line, Walter Johnson with 417. So nearly 100 more wins than the next in line.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about it is it's not like a modern name. We're not talking like, oh, Randy Johnson is second in line.
Yeah.
So like maybe somebody's close. No, Walter Johnson.
Yeah. Old Walt.
Old Walt, old Big Train, next in line at number 2. Do you know who number 3 is?
Should I know?
You should if you're a fan of old timey baseball. No, you won't know this.
All right, that's cool. Move along.
Grover Cleveland Alexander.
No.
Christy Mathewson also tied for third. All right, you should definitely know who number 5 is. Coming in with 365 wins. Who's number 5?
365. Greg Maddux. No idea.
So close. Pud Galvin.
Oh, Pud.
Pud.
I didn't think old
Everybody
Pud.
knows Pud.
Grandpa Pud.
What
a dope name.
So as I kind of alluded to, some of these numbers that he accumulated were also records. Pitched more innings, started more games, and completed more games than anyone else in big league history. Did you know he played? This was wild. Did you know he played for a team called the St. Louis Perfectos?
It's pretty cool.
He also got to play for the Cleveland Spiders, played for the Cleveland Naps, and the Boston Rustlers.
You know, the old Rustlers. Did you say the Naps?
Cleveland Naps.
NAPS.
Yes.
Now that's a team that I can get on board with.
It's not what you think. It
Let's
was named
bring that
after.
back. Let's
it was
bring
named
that back
after.
now.
What's his name? I can never pronounce it. Oh my gosh.
I want you to try.
Luis
Arias.
No. What was that dude's name? Nap? Is it Nap Lajoie? Lajoie. I mean, he's like one of the talking Cleveland baseball. He's like one of the guys from that franchise, but I can never pronounce the name. Forgive me.
His first name is Nap.
Yeah, they named the team after him because I think he was a player manager.
And
Or
bro
maybe
just comes in and he's like, I think this team is going to be named after me now.
I think this is my team now. I'm the captain now. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Do you think naps were super common back then? Do you think there were confused fans in the crowd?
I would venture
I'm
to say
seeing a
naps.
lot of promotional ideas here. You know what I mean?
I'm-
Bring your pillow to the ball game.
Modern day, sure, but
Yeah.
I think they had like 22-hour work days back in the day. So I venture to say naps were not as commonplace as they are now.
Yeah. Sleeping bag.
Thanks to labor laws.
I'm a huge fan of this. Let's bring this back.
Let's bring it
Change it to the Washington Naps instead of the Nats. We're in.
Boom. That's a moneymaker right there. All right, getting into this record because it's insane. For 19 straight years, he was in the top 10 in his league for number of innings pitched. He led the league in victories on 5 occasions, 1892, 1895, and from 1901 to 1903. In 1892, he reached a career high in wins with 36.
Dude, that's pretty nuts. You don't even see 36 starts anymore.
He also pitched the first perfect game of the 20th century. He had 3 no-hitters. But in regards to this record, for an MLB pitcher to win 5, this is like my favorite part of doing this mini series is putting it in perspective of like what somebody would have to do now.
Sure.
For an MLB pitcher to win 500 games, 11 short of Cy Young's record, he would have to win 25 games a year for 20 seasons.
Yeah. It'll never happen.
The last player to win 25 games in a season was Bob Welch of the Oakland A's in 1990.
The win is already dead. And
yeah, I mean, I
was Cy Young's arm by win number.
Without a doubt. No, I mean, I bring this up knowing that the win is well beyond the way out the door. But it's still a record that I think needs to be talked about because when really sit down and look at it, 511 wins.
Yeah.
That's just insane. So, good on Cy.
Think he was using any spider tack or anything? Had some greenies in the clubhouse?
I would venture to say that, if there was some variation of spider tack back in the day, I mean, he did play for the Cleveland Spiders. So, you talk like promotional items. Maybe they were sponsored by spider
probably
tack.
Probably right. But back then, I feel like the center fielder used to rock a cigar in his mouth in the middle of a game. It's just a different time.
Different era of ball.
Was Vaseline even created at that point? Could they even use that?
Dude, Vaseline has to be like 200 years old.
Yeah, you're probably right.
When was bet you didn't expect this to be a topic of discussion today. When was Vaseline invented?
Followed up with, what is Vaseline?
Dude, Cy Young was definitely using Vaseline. 1870.
Oh, yeah. And it's fresh on the market, too.
Oh, yeah, dude. They're handing that out on street corners.
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
Let's get this in the hands of these ball players down the street. How about that? See what magic we can create.
Vaseline, you see.
You see? I got this
2 cents.
Oh,
had to save up all week for this.
I had to save up all week to fork over this penny for this little jar of petroleum jelly, you see? Dude, for sure. Dude,
so
did we
good.
just stumble across one of the untold conspiracies of modern day baseball?
What a wild time. You know what I mean? What a wild time. I bet guys were like sliding into bags and being like, ooh, that scar, that's hurting from the Civil War. I had a bayonet shoved in my leg a couple years ago.
Let me clean that out with some bourbon that I've got in my back pocket. Like,
yeah, dude, just busting out a flask. Meanwhile, Cy Young is just throwing out freaking bowling balls game after game. Let's look up that roster.
I'll look it up right now.
There's 3 pitchers on the entire team.
All right, let's look up his World Series team. Or no, let's look up hold on. This will be the last thing we do before we get out of here. Cy Young stats. So his first season, it's so funny to me that Baseball Reference has these things. Like, why do we have stats from 1890?
Yeah.
All right, so 1890 played for the Cleveland Spiders. He went 9-7, had a 3.47. Let's pull up the 1890.
Pretty
Cleveland
average
Spiders.
year, Cy. 9 dubs.
What a scrub! And you wanted an award named after you?
That was
My goodness.
pre-Vaseline.
He was one of 2 Hall of Famers on the 1890 Spiders.
Sure.
George Davis.
That could be anybody. That could be. That's insane.
No
George
chance. You
Davis.
could give me a million guesses. No chance. I'm guessing George Davis as a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
What were we trying to figure out? Oh, pitchers.
The roster. I just want to see the roster.
All right, so get this.
12-man roster.
What is the number here? Games in lineup or announced as pitcher. All right, so how many pitchers do you think on average a team goes through in a year, in the season?
Now today or back then?
Today.
So you typically carry what, like 13?
I was
Like
thinking
13,
like
14?
14.
Between like September call-ups, spot starts.
A limit
say-
of 14 pitchers.
I'm going to say 40. 40 on average. Maybe even 50.
You want to know how many? So according to Baseball Reference,
Sure.
from the 1890 Cleveland Spiders, the number of players that appeared in a lineup or were announced as a pitcher, 11. The
Wow.
whole year.
That's insane.
The whole year.
That's nuts.
And you want to know who was leading the charge for the 1890 Cleveland Spiders? It wasn't Cy Young, I can tell you that. It was Ed Beaton, born in 1866, made 54 appearances for the Cleveland Spiders at age 23.
Let's go, Ed.
At the ripe old age of 23. Probably had like 6 years left to live, poor guy.
Yeah.
No, he made it to 58.
Man.
You want to know Ed? I love going down this rabbit hole. You want to know what Ed Beaton's full name was?
Please.
Ebenezer Ambrose Beaton.
Yes, hit me with the Ebenezer. Absolutely.
Yes. Let's have it.
Absolutely. Ebenezer, pass me over that jar of petroleum jelly.
We could do a full skit. I would love that. That should be a bonus pod.
Scallywag, pass that over, Ebenezer.
He made 54 starts.
That's
53
crazy.
were complete games. What?
That's awesome.
54 starts and 53 complete games.
Perfect.
Insane.
We may have to bust out. We may have to bust out some baseball history again. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's time. We're due. We need to get back.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Modern day baseball is boring.
It's kind of boring right now. Yeah.
We need to bust out some.
I need some Ebenezers and Puds in my life more often.
How about that?
Great grandpa Pud.
Last thing before we get out of here, any prediction on who they're announcing? I mean, based on when you're listening to this, they're announcing the MLB The Show cover on Tuesday, the 30th. Any prediction on who do you think it's going to be? For the record, we're recording this Monday night, the 29th. So my bet's Acuna.
I think that's a very safe bet. Dang, I'm stuck.
I mean, let's be honest. Anything's probably going to be a bump up from Jazz from last year, right? I mean, come on. That was a little bit of a miss. It's okay.
It's all right.
Nothing but love for Jazz, but
yeah,
got to redeem ourselves here. I think
Shohei's already been on it. Judge has already been on it. Julio's already been on it.
Bryce has been on it. I think Ronnie Baseball's a good pick.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I not that I would vote for this, but maybe like a Pete Alonso.
No. Right? I mean, coming off of his 2023, why wouldn't you go Acuna? I mean, that's got to be the easiest pick in history, no?
Give me Lord Farquaad. Give me a Corbin Burns or Corbin Carroll.
I like that
cover.
Pick.
That'd be fun.
I like that pick.
Lord Farquaad.
I think you need a little more substance. I think you need a little more substance.
Man, is that a short joke?
No, it's not a short joke. I'm serious because we love Corbin Carroll on this podcast, but you run the risk of that turning into like another Jazz situation where it kind of,
all right,
he flames out next year and has to pick himself back up the following year. You need a guy that you can fully count on. It's Ronald Acuna Jr.
Give me an Adolis Garcia. Just zoomed in on his bicep. You don't even see his face. He's just flexing. It's a blue jersey, bunch of tats, and you're like, I think that's Adolis.
That'll do it.
Perfect. 3 hours later.
3 hours later.
Anybody that hung on this long, you must be single.
Love you much. Love you much. Appreciate you all. Check out the YouTube. Subscribe, please. Trying to reach our goal of 2K before the end of the year. So any and all help would be appreciated. And you will hear from us.
Maybe we should mix in a little giveaway or something. A little something for that. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll think on it. Maybe we'll think on it and have an announcement next week for a little giveaway.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, we need to get to a change up. You're right. We got to mix that in.
We're due. But if you don't hear from us with that, you'll hear from us talking ball next week.
You got it. Good stuff, Ebenezer. Don't go chasing curveballs.
Love you all, and always we're looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.